You have been a thorn in my side for far too long, Avatar. Your two worlds will be crushed. Britannia first, then Earth. I shall parade you before their conquered peoples as the fallen idol of a pathetic ideal. I banish you to the world of Pagan. No one here knows of the Avatar.
Good evening, everybody. I'm just jumping on here to do a little review of my most recent run of Ultima 8. This is going to be kind of a quick review and basically it's about an hour long run, but I'm going to commentate through and kind of explain some of the things that are going on as we're running, as this is designed to be a kind of a submission video for marathons, but also just kind of to review the run, point out what these different things are, and be able to explain out the run itself so that new people coming in, people seeing what's going on, they get a chance to see where this, kind of what this run is. So without further ado, I actually started up a different video that actually has the sound enabled, as the sound that you get there, the sound was actually turned off for the run. Not just voices and stuff, but music as well. And that was simply because I was watching something and I didn't want to fiddle with the settings and try to mute what I was watching while still getting game music in. So there will be no music for this run, but and I will skip past the little blurb at the beginning. I just threw that in there because I figured it was a great way to kind of get you an idea of the little bit of background of this run. So we'll go ahead and open this up, and we'll pull this forward to about right here. So this is Ultima 8 Pagan. So this is the screen to be right at the beginning where we can kind of set a name. It is up to 16 characters. This is actually what we would use. This would be one of the things we would use as an incentive for people to donate, since you can put any name there. As I put here in here, it's your name here. Uh, Kind of like just a little tongue in cheek, a little. But basically, the whole idea is just to have it like there, so you can put your name in. It can be anything you want. It won't matter. The text doesn't lag because it doesn't it's not like NES games that scroll or anything like that. As you can see, I just hit my timer. The timer is going to start here in about 10 seconds. And the game will go ahead and get the game started. Just for people's records, you can ignore the splits on the side in terms of the times, whether I'm ahead or behind, as those are kind of just fake. Like they were from practicing and stuff, and they're not accurate. So what you see here now is I am disabling the sound so that there's no sound effects, and that is actually useful for two reasons. The first reason is the steps do kind of lag, or at least they seem to. Maybe they don't. They can be a little annoying sometimes too. But also the sounds when they're enabled, the sound pack um actually adds voice acting to some of the character to some of the to like the bosses of the game, and that voice acting really kind of messes things up. And hey, 46 seconds into the run, we have our first death. Unfortunately, this guy, he committed treason by talking about the queen, and the queen decided off with his head. But yeah, basically the premise of the game though is Ultimate 8 is a action RPG that that follows the travels of a man known as the Avatar of the Virtues. This is the Avatar. This is the first game in a series in a long time where you play as by yourself. So basically, what's going on right now is this opening cutscene. I just came in, uh, and came into the world, and they're asking me to, she's asking me questions, after I ask what happened here and stuff. I actually misspoke to her. You actually don't. You want to give her your name or whatever, because if you don't say anything, you'll get in trouble. She'll attack you eventually, and it's just a lock. Um, this guard also stops you and bugs you. It's just quick getting through there to get there. So now I'm in the city of Tenebrae. This is kind of the city hub. It's the only city in the game. Um, you'll see me run around. You'll see me leaping a bit. That's all just movement tech, leaping, jumping. While it's less safe at times, it is faster, unless of course you do that and bonk against a wall. The item you just saw me go near and it rose up and activated, that's a teleport pad. I will be getting an item here in about 5 minutes or so, a little less than 5 minutes, that will allow me to teleport to any one of those pads I've seen. Now, what I'm doing here in town is you're literally just passing through town a good chunk of the time, and that's about it. But right now I'm in town. What I'm doing is I'm picking up this stick, and this stick is called a Dead Man's Elbow. This is an item you only need one of, and it will be for a quest that I will be doing in about 10 minutes. It'll be on there about 10 minutes. But yeah, other than that, it's just kind of running through the town. Nothing major. Just pick up the stick and move on. So now I'm into the back area. This is like think of this as like going out into the country, out into the sticks. This is like a farm. Uh, but yeah, basically you just see me kind of running here. I'm running, as you can see, jumping. Like I said, jumping is doing those running jumps is faster from what I've seen than just standard running. But it is also dangerous because certain things are not like or not useful here. As you see, I'm doing jumping across. Now in the world record path, he actually goes out and around, and I'm not entirely certain on whether that's faster. Um, as you can see, this is a little finicky. The movement in the game, yeah, can be a little funky if you're not in the exact right spot. Um, this is part of the reason why. You see, I try to pull myself up here and realize I didn't make it and it won't let me go. You can't jump up on there because there's a little lip overhanging. It's really weird. The no major glitches this is the any percent no major glitches, which is where you can't do stuff. In the any percent run, there's actually a little hole in the wall on that front side, like away that's facing away from you, that you could slide in and go out of bounds, which is lovely. And I probably would I would probably do something like that in a marathon run. So this next area, this is just a little puzzle. Everything on the left goes down, everything on the right goes up. Everything's good. We get a zombie that just gets dropped onto the platform. But that lever puzzle actually unlocks this lever that drops the gate down here. If you're fast enough, you can get through the first gate before the second gate drops. I was very slow and had some massive execution errors. This is a nice little jump trick I like to do, where if you try to jump and your maximum jump goes over over like an item, it will actually give you effectively a double jump. Like it'll move you twice as far, which is useful. So in this house, we now find this is a man named Mithran. The first thing we do here is we open up his closet, and there's a little backpack on the ground. We open our backpack, we take everything. Take the bedroll, take the $137, take the dagger, which will be useful later. You come upstairs, you take the shield, which will be used later, and then you can just talk to the guy. And so basically this old guy is like our friendly, like non-denominational magic person. We don't actually, after we talk to him here, we will never come back. We'll never talk to him again. But in the regular game, he actually gives you thaumaturgy, which uh, allows you to cast spells that are not part of the like your standard pantheon of spells, your standard school of spells. Um, but once I'm done here, I just get rid of the bed or drop the bedroll and the blanket that I took, as well as the bedroll I took at the beginning of the game, and then the blanket, and then dump the money since I don't ever need money again for the rest of the run. And the reason I do that there, and the reason why we do that as part of the route, is because there is a weight and bulk system in the game. It's hidden kind of behind, like the weight you can see, but the bulk is not so visible. Um, and so we just drop that so we can continually pick up stuff, and we don't have to worry about if we're gonna run out of room. So those are just dropped there because we don't actually need like the bedroll. The extended bedroll will need that for 2 spots in the game. The blanket we only need for 1 spot. And so now I'm running through town, and now I'm heading on the path to the graveyard. So we're heading into the graveyard because in the story, you tell Mythran your story about how you were basically trapped here. You were sent here kind of like it's like a prison or whatever, by the Guardian, who's a big malevolent red demon. And he goes, well, maybe you know what? You're like, yeah. You ask like, how can I get off of this world? And he goes, oh, well, I guess I've never actually thought about it, but I guess if you really wanted to try, you could just talk. You could try to just seek the magic of the other Titans, which are kind of like the gods of this world. They control everything. Uh, And so he's like, "Oh, well then go see them. Go. You should go see the necromancers first, since they serve the Titan of Earth, and see what you can do." And so that's what I'm doing. Now you saw me stop and grab that item that was on the ground, that leafy item on the ground. That's called an executioner's hood. That's actually the other part of a quest that will be coming up here in just a few minutes. Right now, I'm now talking to Vividos. He is the necromancer. He's the guy, or actually, he's not really the necromancer yet. He's the apprentice to the necromancer. But he is like, hey, I need some help. The queen of the town is a total B word, and she took our stuff, like took our dagger from us, so we can't perform any of our rituals, and we have to have her approval to do stuff. And you're like, oh, well, I can help. And he goes, oh, will you? Okay, thanks. And so what you do is, because of the time, you actually come to this house, and this woman that's here is actually the servant girl of the queen, and it's her time off because she's not around, because the queen's sleeping, the girl's got time off. So what we do is we come in, we talk to her, we tell her, hey, can you help us? And then we tell her, like, she's like, oh yeah, I don't want to get in trouble, but okay, I guess. And so you tell her, oh, you won't get in trouble, you're fine, you're fine. And so she gives you us a key that we're coming back to the palace now. So this is actually the first official point of the game outside. Like the caves on the way can be a little dangerous because the water is instant death, but this is the first real danger point of the run, that if you screw up, you will die. There's no way to prevent it if you do something wrong. There's no backups, there's no nothing that can stop it. So what you have to do is you have to walk in this room. If you do not walk, you can walk, or you can tiptoe like slowly. But if you run, or if you run onto the red carpet, you will die. Now what I'm doing here is we stick the 2 scrolls and into the box with the dagger. I dump the key off since we never need it again, and then we just leave. We use the recall item to teleport out. That box, so the dagger is obvious. That's the dagger we're looking for. That's what we're going to give to Vividos, and he's going to be very happy with us because of it. The 2 scrolls, one of them is a scroll of invisibility, which we will use in a while during the Heart of Earth skip or the Heart of Earth split, and the other one is a Scroll of Revisibility, which we won't actually use until we're about ready to go to the end game. So again, now here we're just going through the town, and it's just standard travel through. Generally, kind of good at this point. Other than you can explain the game, explain the lore, do donations during a time like this. This is one of the few times during the run where there isn't really much to talk about. It's more of a kind of a lore dump at that point or something to that. But we're getting here now. Now, one thing to note is that there actually is a potential for a speed trick, but it's random. It's RNG entirely. I've never been able to reproduce it. But basically, if you like randomly, if you get to that within, I don't know if it's a certain time, certain RNG, what it is, but if you get there, there's a chance for Vividos to actually be walking around outside like you saw him at the beginning there. And if he's doing that, everything that's happening with the woman on the altar or the ghouls and stuff, like all that animations, all of that is skipped because he's out of range. It's as if they may say it on the screen, but it doesn't do that. Like it doesn't do this. It actually saves probably about 10 to 15 seconds. I've not actually timed it, but it does save a little bit of time. But it's absolutely 100% random. I've not found a way to duplicate this. So yeah, we gave the guy the dagger. He uses the dagger to stab the woman on the altar. The woman on the altar was the necromancer. And basically what happens is apparently as part of the necromantic line of succession, the necromancer lives and serves Lithos by burying the dead. And then when they feel that their time is ready, their time has come, they ritualistically sacrifice themselves, and as part of that sacrifice actually leads them, like basically takes them to necromancy paradise. There's no real way of knowing what that is. It's just that's what we're told. It's in the lore books and stuff. Um, but yeah, the with Vividos there, when you're talking to him, he's like, "Oh yeah, now I'm the necromancer." You could actually be like, "Hey, you murdered her. What the heck?" And they're like, "No, no, no. I didn't murder her. I killed her, but I didn't murder her. She knew it was coming, and she wanted it." And you could tell by the text that she actually was all for it. But right now I've been granted the little skull key that's in my inventory. That's known as the key of the caretaker. That is actually how we create our necromantic spells. So basically what we do is we take all these different little reagents, which are these different items I'm sticking in this bag, double click the key, click the bag. If I have the right items in the bag, my character will automatically do it. One of those spells was a summon golem spell, which you actually aren't supposed to technically know until after you meet some ancient necromancers as part of the storyline. But because we're the Avatar and we're omnipotent for some reason, and omniscient, well, maybe not omnipotent, but definitely omniscient, we just know it all, and so we don't even have to worry about it. The other one is open ground, and we're actually going to use that right here to get into the catacombs. So you'll see me open up, just double click it, uses it up, goes in, I go in, all good. So this is actually the first place I save at the beginning here, because up to this point the route is relatively safe. There's very, very few like ways to die, and the execution is so good that it doesn't really matter. Like it won't hurt anything to, like, you can run without saving. Now in the catacombs, this is the one thing you notice I'm like hugging the wall. I'll be hugging the walls here. A lot of that is because for some strange reason they decided that it would be a very, very good idea to have random floors that are not marked just drop out from under you. And underneath could be just a regular pit that you can't you might be able to get out. It might just be a regular just drop down pit. It could be a lava pit that will kill you instantly, or it could just be an endless bottomless pit that you just fall forever and you're dead too. And there's no rhyme, no reason to why it's there. As we go along, you will see some of these pits. But yeah, basically hugging the walls is useful. You notice there's like you got ghosts and ghouls around. Ghosts will pull off the skull out of their head and throw it at you, and it explodes and does damage. Um, they were kind enough to add some of this water-like stuff on the floor to point out areas where the floor might be weak, but it's not necessarily a guarantee. I would consider those always. The rule of thumb in the catacombs is just always just be in the like hug the walls and stuff. Right here, now this is what is known as the island center, and we use this. This is like your center hub. This is actually how we get to all of the realms of the different titans, all the different areas of the island where the titans themselves reside. As you see here, I'm actually picking up, like I picked up a that pink or purple potion, however you wish to see it. That is actually a potion of temporary invincibility. You'll use that. We'll use that in a little bit to protect ourselves from something. This here is a trick I like to do because if you come running at a full speed and leap and jump and hit your jump button at the right exact time, you can actually you could jump this pit in stride and keep running. And if you do that, that's actually very, very that's faster than as you saw. I fell into the pit, and then I get up and jump out, or pull myself up and out. It's far better. Again, another pit right in the middle of that room. It's better to just hug the walls there. From here on, it's not so much hugging the walls, but there is some RNG with those ghosts because unlike the ghosts, you think, oh, I can walk through them and stuff. No, the ghosts actually stop your movement, so you can't run through them. As you see, I'm a little careful around the water. Like I said, that deep blue water, that is what's called deep water, and it is instant death. You can't swim in this game. Apparently, you can run, you can jump, you can climb, you can't swim, which is kind of funny considering that you can play Ultima Underworld, and it's very obvious in that game that the Avatar can swim. I guess they just didn't have time to implement those kind of mechanics and didn't care to, and they just decided, you jump in, something grabs you and kills you. So now we're in the first area. This is what's known as Stone Cove. I think I split a little early on this, but basically what I'm doing here is I'm summoning that golem that I created right there, and I'm telling them to go open those doors because that in this area that those doors can only be opened by a golem. That is actually part of the whole thing. Like you learn that from the ancient necromancers. You notice I'm picking up some extra wood. Really, I only need two there, or like three or four. I don't know where the golem went. He disappeared. I still got the doors open. I'm happy. I move on. But basically so now we're in the Hall of the Mountain King. Every enemy that is not I did not create is hostile. Just assume that from here on out, other than like people, and even some people will be hostile, and you'll be able to tell that. But right here we just go in. This is the first step of the Hall of the Mountain King. You go into this room full of dead people. Pull a lever, which wakens some zombies, and they come. I'm trying to get out because the only way in and out is over the wall. If you try to run in front of that grill right there, that barred gate in the front, there's actually a bottomless pit sitting there. So, and then these holes in the floor, as you saw, I ran around one, which is kind of funny since it's supposed to be there, but it's like those are bottomless pits too. Uh, just simple things. There's some fire shooters that throw things out that do firebolt damage. They just suck. And now we have our best, one of the best things ever. Platforms that fade in and out. And then we have these. These are interesting. These white things, white platforms, they are stationary here. However, if you played the original unpatched version of this game, they moved. And on top of that, the avatar's jumping distance was 8 directions, and it was a fixed distance every time. So you not only had to catch a moving platform, you had to do it. You had to be in a precise spot and at a precise time, or else you would just miss the platform and fall in the pit. As you see here, if you see the little shield that pops up periodically, that's me quick saving. That's just a quick way to get me to save the game so that if I do miss a platform or if something happens, I can reload and continue. That will be done periodically throughout the run because there are points in this run where I do goof up. Right here, this is where I drink my invincibility potion and start running on through. So you see that some of these walls have just force fields that just do damage to you as you go through. Some of them, as you can see, some of them don't, others do. Sometimes it'll hit me and I'll get a knockback. Others, I'll be run through like it's nothing. This is like the only place you see, I just got hit in the head with a stalactite that came from the ceiling. But yeah, so yeah. Grab a key, grab that dirt, stick it in the bag, and then grab this gem. Now this gem's nice. This gem makes all those force fields. I treat those force fields as if they don't do anything. It's literally there to it's like a bypass. I really don't know why they did that at all, because that you have to go to that chest. You have to get that. I save here because this is actually a dangerous spot. Because now monsters have spawned. Sometimes it's just the spider. Other times it will include the spider and a golem. And the golem is a lot closer and such, and moves faster and such. So it's a good idea to save there just so you don't lose time because you just died. So yeah, so we're just moving on through the dungeon. You notice we got these red mushrooms. These red mushrooms are explosive, as you can see. I step on them, I take a good chunk of damage. If I do more than 2 or 3, I'm probably dead. Sometimes you could take 1 and die. It depends on the mushroom. It's RNG, the amount of damage you take. So you see me jump across, run around. You can actually also jump across the lake, but in order to do that, they're rising and falling pillars in the water that you have to navigate, and those just suck. So I found that while looking with the world record run, and it worked. It's far better. So I come off the side. So the next thing I do is come off the side passage. I actually drink one of those potions because I'm hurt. So why not? The red potions are full heals, but they have a catch because if you drink them when you're at full health, they will actually hurt you. The rest of the potions, the blue ones sleep, the orange ones restore mana. Don't need either one of them at all in this run. I took another purple potion, and then that black potion I took is actually a potion of invisibility, and we'll be using that a lot later. So now I go on down this hallway. This hallway is the right hallway to where I'm going. You see some more wood on the floor. I'm going to pick it up. Get a couple. There's 2 there. I go here. And there's 2 there. So actually, because I actually discovered as part of this, I actually picked up one too many wood in this run because I got lucky with RNG. Generally, most of them give you 1 or 2. This whole hallway is full of stalactites. If you run along the wall, you could skip every one of them after the first. Jump across these platforms. Again, they used to move. That jump sucked in the original version. And now I'm jumping, and here is the first Titan. Here is Lithos. He is actually voice acted. If you have the sound on and the voice packs and all that, with the current version of GOG, you'll have the voice packs automatically. You show up. He goes, "What are you doing here?" You go, "Hey, the Necromancer's changed. I want to be the apprentice." He goes, "Okay, well, fall on your back to serve me." And then now you're gonna have to bury Lothian. You're gonna have to bury the woman who just got stabbed. And he's like, "Oh well, how do I do that?" He goes, "Ask the Necromancer. That's his job." And so now I'm running down here. So this is actually kind of I call this our primary hub for a bit of the run. That's where our teleporter is. So we just go to the teleport. Like, we'll be using this a few times to get to where we need to go. It's the most common. I just dropped the blanket here because I forgot to drop it earlier. It's one of those things. You can kind of drop it whenever. The time you're gonna lose time either way with dropping it, but it's not a huge major deal. Again, it's just for weight management. So yeah, so this would be another way. We're actually now running back to Vividos to let them know, hey, we talked to Lithos, and now we're your apprentice, right? We're the and so this would be another spot for more donations or ads or whatever needs to be said during the run. And so, yeah, right here we actually get stopped because he actually tells us, he's all like, "Hey, who do you know? How do you know? Like, do you know the librarian of the town? Yeah, well, the queen just had it. Queen had him killed. The queen had chopped his head off. Oh, do you know Devin, the guy who fished? The guy who he's Devin is the guy who fished us up. The first guy we spoke to in the game. And I'm like, yeah, I know him. He's like, oh, well, he's in prison. I'm like, okay, so that's actually part of a sub quest, or I won't say a sub quest, part of the main quest, where you basically have to break him out of where it's kind of like you break him like you break him out of jail, kind of sorta, not really break him out, but it's like basically what happens is that he actually turns out to be the half brother of Mordia, and he was actually he's basically Mordia the queen's older brother, and they don't know that. Bentic, the librarian who gets killed, he was what basically what he did is he actually found out, like he discovered it and had written it in his diary and stuff, and that's what actually caused Mordia to kill him. And then Devon's in prison for being the queen's brother because she doesn't want any more. She doesn't want any competition. She's the Tempest. She's the queen. She doesn't want to give it up to her older brother. And you have a little cutscene, and Devin actually starts like takes his powers, and he kills her by throwing her into the ocean, uh, or causing her to fall in, from what it looks like. So yeah, so what you just saw just a little bit ago, you saw me. I talked to Vividos. He's like, oh, it's like I met the Mountain King. Like, oh, he's like, oh, well, okay. Did he tell you to do something? Like, yeah, he told me to marry Lothian. He goes, oh, that's right. And since you told me that, here's the key of the Scion. You're now my apprentice. You're now the next in line for the necromancy when I die. That's what he did. We go, thanks. And you're supposed to use that key to go bury Lothian. We ignore her. She can lie there. She's gonna rot. She's just gonna rot in the sun for the rest of the or rot in the pale cloud cover for the rest of eternity. Uh, and we take the key and run. We teleport back to the Hall of the Mountain King and then get back here. And this is Argent Rock Isle. This is the Isle of the Healers. We don't actually need to do anything here. We're just coming here to activate that teleporter. Um, this is actually another part of the RNG. These creatures are bugs. They're hostile bugs. They do some damage, as you can see. They're hurting. They're beating. They're like I got three of them attacking me. I got two of them kind of fighting me. Um, I actually just decide after the first one to die to kill it, and then I managed to make it around the other two. This is totally RNG. These are some of the most annoying creatures in the game, and it's actually the only reason, one of the few reasons why I try not to jump across that bridge until I'm past a certain point, because there is a chance they are low enough to the ground that if you land improperly, you can land on top of one and then bounce over the edge into the water and kill you. So it's really, really like it's something I don't do normally. So now what we're doing here is we're now backtracking back to the catacombs. We're going to head back in because that's actually where. So when we were given the key of the Scion, we were told, now you need to go back to the catacombs. There is a you need to follow the path of the necromancer, and there is a pilgrimage you need to make to the birthplace of Morians, who was the first necromancer. We go, okay, so that's kind of what we do as the with the key and stuff. And so we stopped to get Argent Rock Isle teleporter because we'll be using that as it's a closer teleporter to some of our next areas. But right now we're actually going back. We're going to backtrack through the catacombs. We actually already passed where the birthplace of Morians is. We just didn't go through. As you run through here, you notice the holes in the ground with that yellow substance under. That yellow substance is lava. That's the hot lava that will burn you. If you fall in, you will incinerate instantly, and it's an instant death. Random wall, just out of nowhere, you just grab onto an invisible wall. All's well programmed game. But yeah, we're backtracking another time for some quick donations or whatever. But then here we are at this store. This store can only be opened by that new key. We open her up, and if you were to go to the right there, that altar, that sign on it says the birthplace of Morians. It actually used to say something different, but that was in the unpatched version. It really doesn't do anything. But the important part is we go through this door right here. This door actually leads to the Zealand Shrine. This is actually kind of like a like in the so basically in the history of the world, there were two factions. You have the Zealands, who were the original peoples of the land, and then you have the Pagans, who were people that converted to the worship of the Guardian, the big bad guy, uh, who disguised himself as the Destroyer. Who like he was like we warned them, oh, there's a destroyer coming. You need to worship the elements and raise titans or like raise them up as titans and as gods to protect you. The Zealands had their own gods, and there was a war, and the pagans won after the Guardian shows up as the destroyer. The titans go up to fight the Guardian, and I believe that they are actually defeated, and then he sends them back to kind of like keep people like under control. It's a conspiracy theory thing in this game. It's really weird. But basically, yeah, we're going through the shrine. As you see, I created an open dirt. That's just to open that hole right there. Um, it's actually one of the last times we'll use, like, that's the last time we'll use that spell, as we don't really need to. There's no real call for opening dirt. To get through this gate, we just pick up a marble and chuck it up there. There's a little pressure switch that opens the gate. We hop in here, and there's a key that we will need later on in a little bit. And then we pop open this chest. There's actually 5 piles of dirt in here. We take that dirt because we're gonna be making stuff. I actually moved some of the wood out because we're actually about to create some more golem spells. I just checked to see how many piles of dirt I have. I realized I only had the one, so I pull in the rest. And then once I'm done, I move the shield out of the way, just kind of get out of the way. And we come over here into this box. In this box, there's some black more. There's the last piece of the puzzle for the golem spell. We grab 2 of them, and then I try to click on the caretaker and failed, but then I click on it, get on there. I created 2 at once. I use the 4 dirt. I grab 4 wood, and I create some rock flesh spells. Rock flesh is simply just they're 100 it's about 100 seconds of invincibility per spell. So we just use that. We'll be using that. Now we're on to this puzzle. If you are a computer scientist, you will know this puzzle quite well, as this is the stair puzzle version of the Towers of Hanoi. Basically, it's like the idea is that you have 4 rings that are measured small to big. Your goal is to move all of them from like you'll have like what they'll have like small to big on one peg, and there'll be like 1 or 2 other pegs, and or 3 or 4, however many, and your goal is to move all of the items from one peg to another specific peg, and it's actually used in computer science classes as a programming tool. Like, you learn how to do that. You learn how to write this kind of program as learning how to write algorithms. So our goal is to take them from that right staircase to make them into the set, or make them normal, or put them in the middle. And then I take that invincibility potion because those two lasers are instant death. There is a way around it. You can use a golem to actually bust open that the two doors around and get through without risking that, but it is far faster to just do that. Now you see these three statues. The shield we carried. Well, these are the Zealand gods. That shield is actually their totem shield that basically activates them, makes them alive. They actually tell you all about tell you about your quest. They know about it. They want to help you. They tell you, oh, well, you're going to need to grab some BlackRock pieces because you know about BlackRock. It's a substance you're very familiar with. Behind us, this guy has him. He's been dead. He's a famous Zealand warrior. He's been dead for years. This doesn't stop him from coming back as a ghost and fighting you. But basically, they just kind of tell, like, they tell you that you need this, and then, like, once you grab the obelisk tip, they actually will come, like, if you were to leave that room and go through the second cutscene, they actually tell you that, like, the whole, like, the background where the pagans were ripped away from their grasp, and they're helping you to defeat the Titans so that you can use their power to lead Pagan. And they actually tell you you're going to become a Titan yourself. You are going to become the Titan of Ether. And Ether in this game is you're basically becoming the Titan of magic, or the Titan of the plains kind of thing. And so they're like, oh yeah, so you need to go like learn the powers of the other Titans so that you can steal their power. So one of the things we do is, you notice that we have the BlackRock artifact that we picked up, that obelisk tip. Well, there are actually four other items that we will need to reach the end game. We're actually picking up the second piece right now. So we summon a golem, bust open the door because there's no way otherwise. We step over this spot and we just double click, and you notice that item that just popped into our inventory. That is actually the Heart of Earth. There was a whole separate side quest where if you took that, it would, like, you would anger Lithos, and he would summon the dead and start rampaging the world. And there was, like, a whole separate side quest for that was completely cut because of EA. Since they're the ones who own it, I'm not going to get too involved in that, but let's just say I consider this game probably one of the greatest unfinished games out there. And I say that unfinished because it is one of those games that had an expansion, but the expansion was lost because they canceled it because the sales weren't as good. And so they're like, oh, we're not going to waste time on an expansion, even though it was pretty much already made and ready to be shipped. Like, they literally had it ready to ship, and yet they didn't. And the code was lost, and it's like, oh, come on. But yeah, so the next thing, so what we just did in that last segment with the Steel Temper test is we go back, and so basically in the story, once you've freed Devin and everything, and you've figured out, like, or you've, like, talked to him, like, you find out about the obelisk or the pieces, and you talk to Devin and ask him about the Tear of the Seas and stuff. He's like, yeah, I was fishing and I caught this, and so I stuck it in the chest of my study. Here's the key. You can go get it if you want. And, well, the little plot hole is that chest we picked up actually has the Tear of the Seas in it, and you don't have to free Devin or anything to do that. So we just kind of, like, that's a whole, like, plot hole and a half. So now we're in the River of Flame. This is by far the most dangerous area of the game. As you can see, lava everywhere. The orange stuff is considered hard lava. You can walk on it, but it will hurt you unless you have protection. Orange lava is true lava, hot lava. It will kill you if you walk into it. No way to survive. You get in it, you're dead. So what we're doing here is we're using a little thing called blanket jumping. Apparently, I can't. I know why I couldn't put that in. It's because I have the chest in my inventory. You notice I picked the chest in the lava. The lava actually will break it entirely, and because I break it entirely, I don't have to worry about it. So what I end up doing here is you can see I actually save before I do that everything. And then you notice I'm throwing the bedroll across to so that I can make it. Throw the blanket across. Watch it jump. That's RNG. There's nothing you can do about that. If it jumps, it jumps. There's nothing you can do. You notice it jumped out and jumped back. I got lucky. If you move it forward just a little and don't throw it, it won't bounce. But if you do throw it, then it can really mess with you. So actually, right here, I notice I just drop it there and move a little bit onto it because I picked that up because I actually need that bedroll for later in the game. So I actually take the scroll that I use that's supposed to be the one-use scroll of dispelling portals. I can use that as a platform. That is the strongest scroll out there. Fire it can sit on lava and live and be happy and all's well. And I could jump on it and it will let me through. So we do this. Now we're in the Sorcerer's Enclave. This is going to be a really quick thing. We talked to this woman who's Bane. She is a sorcerer like a sorcerer and acolyte of the Cabal, sorcerer Cabal. She actually is like like you're talking to her about kind of stuff. She's like, hey, I see some sorcery in you. I gotta help you, kind of thing. Or like, I need you to I need you to do me a favor. And basically, like as you go through this, she actually asks you, hey, I need you. So what I need you to do is, um, I don't trust this Vardian guy. He's the guy in charge of the like the sort. He's like the first acolyte. He's the second in command, so to speak, of the sorcerers. And she's like, I don't really trust him. I think like she tells you, I don't really trust him. I think he's just gonna drag us back to the old days where it all sucks. Um, and so I want you to find his true name so I can help the Cabal. I can make the Cabal better. And if you do all this, like you talk to him and do the same thing, he will actually ask you to do the same thing and talk to Bane. And basically, the idea is they're asking you to find out their true name. And the true name is like the true name of a sorcerer. If you have it, you can actually do things with them that will cause issues. As you can see, I just summoned a golem, and it's follow and pathing is a thing. But basically, if you get the other's true name, which you will do by agreeing to each other's, like you can talk to both of them. They'll both tell you to kind of, hey, I need you to help me. If you'll do that, I need you to help me get the other's true name, help me, and I'll give you my true name if you agree to my terms. So that way you can learn sorcery from me. Like I'll sponsor you. And you talk to both of them, and then you have a choice. You can choose to either help Vardian or Bane. Well, your choice doesn't matter. You will learn sorcery either way. It's just a story thing. Um, but basically, they're both lying to you through their teeth. They both want to gain power, and they can't. They feel threatened by the other. You learn sorcery. The item I took out of Bane's bag is actually a symbol of explosion. It casts explosion once. The sorcery spell explosion once. I will be using it in about 10 minutes or so. On this guy here. Because he asked me to. But so we've entered what is known as the Obsidian Fortress. Normally, you have to learn all the sorcery spells. You actually have to pass a test where you create 3 different sorcery spells. We skip all that just by using a golem to break the door. There's no reason for us to take the test. We're better than that. We come down here and you notice we ran past the first demon, but the next demon and the next two demon or the next demon we talk to. He's an interesting one because if you've played the other Ultima games, his name is Arcadian, and Arcadian, that the demon that you know is Arcadian from before, was actually a demon that was trapped in a mirror that then got trapped in a sword that your character created, and he kind of helped you. Like basically, he was a powerful demon. He helped you escape in the previous game. He helped you escape a prison in the previous game by you releasing him, and then he killed a guy that was blocking your way. It's kind of interesting the way they kind of put it all together. It's kind of funny. He's like, "Yeah, I don't remember." But time works weird, so maybe I have met you before, and we just haven't met yet in this timeline. So what I am doing right this moment is now, like, moving on to kind of what I'm doing here in the run. I am now moving, as you can see, I'm moving pieces, like these 3 pieces of pumice, to a specific point. I'm putting black candles around the pentagram. I put a symbol in the middle of the pentagram. This is how sorcery is created. I am actually creating a symbol of extinguish. It's a spell that if you use it, target a candle or target yourself, it extinguishes all the candles in the area. This is actually needed for one of the tests in this zone. As you can see now, this is now the heart of the Obsidian Fortress. This is the test of the Acolyte. I learned how to do this, and I learned how to do this, and then pass one other test, I become an Acolyte of the sorcerers. Um, As you see there, I actually use a scroll of rock flesh to make myself invincible. And then I just run past everything. You'll see fireballs get thrown at me. The smaller ones will be fire bolts, while the ones that have the big old explosions, those ones are that's the explosion spell. We're just running along here, and our goal is there's 4 of those pentacles that are blue. Those are kind of like they're like special symbols. They could actually be used in the place of a regular symbol to put any spell into them, and they actually work quite well. We won't use them for that fashion. They're just there as the MacGuffin to get through this area. They're the you done it items. So we just run past this first part, like get in, get it, grab it, get out. And while we're still under the effects of the rock flesh, the important part is we're actually this is on a tight timer. Like I said, these rock flesh spells last about 100 seconds, real time. And so what we do here is you can see I'm still under the effects of it, and I'm actually going through and running through and blowing up these red mushrooms. The ones that exploded are the ones that will explode. The other ones are dummies. They won't explode no matter how much you walk on them, which is always nice. So now this is where I use the symbol of extinguish. As you see the flames around the pentacle, I actually can't, like around the pentagram, I can't get inside without this. But if I extinguish all those candles using magic, I can do that. I pick up the helmet, it's a magic helmet, just nice armor, and then pick up the symbol, and it's there. There's the second MacGuffin. And then you can just run out. As you can see, there's a giant spider and a troll rocking around. We just kind of ignore them. I would prefer the spider to have been further away because then it has further to walk. It's not so much in the way, but kind of sucks. It didn't. Um, Now for this next area, this actually is a side shoot. There is a sorcerer here who he's mad. Like you show up, he's gonna be like, oh, I'm creating this spell. I'm gonna kill you first. And so what we do is we just run in, grab that jewelry box that's got some stuff in it, and run like mad because that jewelry box actually has an item that we will need. Right here, I think this is actually the invisibility potion's actually saved at this point. I use it here just for the sake of getting through the initial step of getting this. Um, in future runs, I might very well move on to using it later. But right here, as you can see, the ghoul's in the way. I'm just gonna stab him. Just gonna stab him to death, so I can grab his body, grab his corpse, move it around, and get out of the way. Kind of like a hey, get out of the way, stabby, stab, stab. Normally, I would like to just skip it or go around it. It was in the way. Also, one other thing: always assume that everything in any of these halls are hostile at all times, because they are. I walk down this way, and now I save because there's another lava pit we got to get through. So I open this up. I try to get the endure heat. This little girl walks up and attacks me and hits me and hurts me a little. Yeah, even the little kids are hostile in this game. We're walking through here. We're jumping across this hard lava. That's actually what this endure heat spell is for. It's to allow you to walk on the orange lava while not hurting you. There's a demon up there. We don't want to deal with him. We just rock flesh, get ourselves invincible, pop up in the chest. That the symbol is right there. And then we dump off our cloak. Actually, the cloak was originally there to kind of help us get through, like use it as a platform. I forgot to use it. I didn't bother. I might even skip it in future runs since I don't really need it. I cast Rock Flesh to keep myself alive from that demon. Recast Endure Heat and come back across the same way I came. I could actually see why the invisibility spell would be useful right here, rather than trying to do what I did, which is even though I'm protected, it's not really going to matter. I'm running back through. As you can see, there are actually way more monsters that are here now that weren't before. That's part of kind of like what happens when you go through that one little spot that connects the rooms together. It spawns all of these monsters. As you can see, I'm trying to get through in some places. That skeleton, I got lucky. That skeleton decided that he was going to let me through. He could have stopped in the middle, just turned and started swinging his axe at me. These things are not nice. I got a bit lucky here, where the axe, like the soul, the okay, so I didn't get lucky here. I just realized the axe, so the skeleton knight and the kith or the spider were both in my way, and they both started attacking me like mad. Now, I was still under the effects of rock flesh, but it could have worn off at any point there. And when you start getting attacked and you start getting knocked back like that, there's no way around that. You're just gonna get hurt, and you're gonna die. The knockback just sucks. So I reloaded, and that as you saw, that's the purpose of the reload. This one here, I got very lucky on that spider. I got hit by the skeleton, but I was still under rock flesh, and the spider moved out of the way just enough so that I could get through. That guy there that looks like me, that's a changeling. They show up, they like to fight you. They're a pain in the butt. I ignore them. We saw them earlier when we got the executioner's hood. Getting through here now. You notice I'm getting a little hurt. I die because I wasn't thinking. So what I do here is I kind of reload. I wait for a moment. I rest because I know I'm hurting. It also helps wear off spells as while it is 100 seconds real time. The game sometimes does take into account these time periods of rest, and will actually expire spells early. Now, for these rolling balls, there's not really a good way to do it. This is actually what you're actually supposed to do is cast the sorcerer spell Flash, which teleports you. But I found that if you just jump to where you're going, if you hit one of those, it'll just stop you in the midair, and no knockback. You'll just be able to continue on. You run through as there's nothing there. I dump the dagger because I no longer need it. I'm getting a better weapon right here. But you see the demon on the ground. We're just going to go here. We're going to take this jewelry box for that backpack. That's got some more spells that we're going to need. And then we're going to move forward and we're going to pick up this sword. This sword is actually what's the basically a flame tongue. When I swing it, it actually will put pools of fire on the ground that will hurt people. Come run over here, grab the last symbol, and we now have all of our MacGuffins. We have passed our tests in here, but now we have to get out. So what we do is just the standard same way we leave the same way we came in on this test. Same old pain in the butt way of getting through this. That one's pretty easy. The second one I just kind of jump through. And then here, I'm just terrible at judging when something's available. I should have run on the south wall, and as the last one bounces off, I can kind of run through. But I just continue to run through. I don't even worry about it too much. It's not a big deal. And then I just run down and around because it's to me it's easier on me to do that. But we just run back to the center and teleport back. You'll notice I double click I actually double click the health and mana bar on the bottom. That's just because if it goes away because of one of these teleports, it won't come back unless you go into your inventory and adjust something, and it's a pain. So I just leave it off for now because I'm going to be rapidly teleporting. So right here I save because now I'm on the test where I'm going to need stuff. I talked to Demon. Demon said, "Hey, good job. You passed this part of the test. Go see Malkir. The portal will take you to this area." And he says, "Okay." Malkir's like, "All right. So if you want to be an acolyte, here's what you're gonna have to do. First thing we're gonna do is you're gonna cast 2 spells on me, and they're not gonna hurt me, so don't worry." But he's like, "Okay, the first thing you can do is I'm gonna have you cast a flame bolt at me. It's a standard fire attack spell. It's only used here. It's not very useful in actual gameplay, so we don't bother with it normally. But you cast it here. He says, "Okay, nicely done. Now cast explosion on me." So you've grabbed the symbol that you took from Bane and cast explosion on him. And then he's like, "Okay, now I need you to summon a demon on me." And here's where I say, because now I have to do 2 things. I have to summon a demon, and then I'm going to have to banish a demon. I actually go in and I grab the jewelry box and I dump it because I grab the 1 token I need and I dump it. I decide to move the banished demon outside. I'm actually going to do that moving on forward. But basically now I summon the demon. I show up, he summons. Demon goes, "Ah!" He goes, "Good job," and he banishes it. And then I'm in a cutscene at the moment, so it won't let me. So he's like, "Okay, now if you can banish my demon, you're good for the thing." Now, what happens here is I banish the demon. It actually has a chance to fail. It sucks. And as you saw, the demon actually got a swing at me before he went away. But now I'm at the Ritual of Fire. Now, this is the ritual they use to summon Pyros, the Titan of Fire. So what you have to do here is you have certain things. You have to have a red candle on you so that you can place it here. If you don't have a red candle, you will he'll create one for you, but it's a bad mark. The next thing is you need to have the ignite spell prepared. Well, we didn't do that. There actually is a way to get it, but it is very, very dangerous because if you fail and you accidentally steal from the guy instead of moving, like basically you can move the item into a bag that you own, and he'll be like, "Hey, don't touch my stuff," and then you can take the bag and you've stolen it successfully without him getting angry. But if you take it directly and put it in your bags, then he gets angry, starts killing you, and everybody in the enclave becomes hostile. So basically, yeah. So at this point, the guy's Malkir summoned Pyros. He's like, "Hey, I need to know. I need some of your power." And then he tells him about "Oh, well, I've heard of a story about a great fire in the sky." He's like, "I'm the only fire in this world." He's like, "Oh, so you have no knowledge of the sun?" Well, if your knowledge is so limited, give me your power, man. If you're that dumb. The reason Pyros is like, "I found a weakness to your defenses," is because that is actually part of the 2-strike system. The first strike, if you commit one foul, which means you forget one item. So if you forget the ignite or if you forget the red candle, it's a one strike system. Or a two strike system. You get two strikes, you're out. You miss a candle, Bane will actually summon one for you, and you'll and everything. If you forget ignite, he'll cast ignite on it. But if you fail once, if you fail one of those, you see what you see here. He throws a firebolt at you, and all's well. And the game moves on. I just heal here because it's better. But if you fail twice, if you don't have a candle and you don't have ignite, then Pyros will actually kill you. Pyros will incinerate you like you fell into hot lava. The ritual fails and everybody dies. That's basically he's freed. Um, if Valkyr there, if you fail once, he throws a fireball at you. If you don't fail at all and you actually help him, first of all, you don't get that extra little cutscene where Pyro says, "Hey, I found a weakness," but he also he's like, "Oh, thank you. I hope you'll aspire to be my first." But then we come back to Malkir's place, and now you notice I went into combat and I'm running at him. He's like, "Oh, hey, dude, I didn't tell you could come here, so because you came here without my permission, you're dead. I'm gonna kill you." And I screwed up here and died because I stood in the fire. He has a chance to cast some spells. That's one of the rarer ones. It's called Create Fire. It sucks. But in this time, you notice I'm creating a lot of fire, and I just swing and kill him. And you notice here he's got a Blackrock piece on him. That piece doesn't actually appear if you killed him earlier. That piece doesn't appear unless you go through that scene, the pyro scene. So we have now killed a grand total of one person. Keep in mind, this is probably the most pacifistic run of the game of the series, because in a lot of the other Ultimas, you can pacify. I mean, a lot of them are pacifists just by nature because you don't really have to kill much to actually advance the story. But this one's special because you literally kill one guy. Anybody else who dies is incidental. Any creatures that die are purely incidental. You don't actually have to do anything else. Um, so yeah, so now we're actually at the point where we're ready to start the end game. We have 4 out of the 5 pieces, and we're finally coming to Argent Rock Isle. This is the land of the healers. You can learn how to cast all sorts of healing spells, and like you can cast invisibility, learn how to cast invisibility, divination. There's actually an invincibility spell that you can pick up. There's a lot of cool stuff here. We skip all of that. We use this bedroll. Now, generally, in order to get over to that platform on that other side, you actually need to complete the trials of the theurgists or the healers, and then once you've completed all of those trials, you then stand between those pillars and you take a leap of faith, and it jumps you over to that pillar. As you can see, I'm actually using the flash spell from sorcery to fly over there instead. It is very finicky. We call it subpixel. I actually have learned that actually appears to be a fixed distance type of thing. If you cast flash and tell it to take you all the way across the screen, it takes you a fixed distance all the way across the screen, and it's further than the thing there. As you see, the third time I did this, I literally ended up on the very, very edge of the platform. I actually walked away from the edge before saving, just so I didn't screw up. And then I walk through, and I'm jumping across, and over here, this is the Titan of Air. And she sounds very, very nice. Like her voice actress is very good. But she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna reward you. Okay, bye." And she's like, "Oh, well, if you're gonna go, take this focus. This will allow you to cast Airwalk. Basically, the spell that the spell that we would normally use to jump across. That's this spell here. You can take it. I actually pick it up here because why not? I thought I would need it during one of the other end game sections. But now we're going to kill the boss. Normally you have to go to her other section, her other like there's a whole other area. There's a whole other set of trials for this boss that you can get to, and and kill the boss and do this. No, what we're gonna do here is we're actually gonna use a little trick with that little pause button that's on your keyboard. So right here, I actually goof up. As you can see, I've teleported and everything. So basically what we have to do here for this, I'm actually going to pause this so I can explain this a little bit. But basically what we have to do here is you have to jump across while having a teleport spell active, while having our teleport spell active. And then when we jump across, as we get into range of that item, which is the fifth final Blackrock piece, we have to pause the game using the pause button on our keyboard. And then we have to double click it, which since the game will still allow it, click on Stratos, which will queue it up in that frame. And then we click on the teleport to teleport ourselves back to Argent Rock Isle. Basically what that does is that actually will use the item on the boss, which is how you kill these titans as part of the game. And then you will then go in and it'll kill the boss. It does this whole thing. For Stratos specifically, this is the only boss you can actively kill this way because this is the only time this is the only Titan that is active like this at all times. Lithos is hidden in his wall. He won't come out again. From where we saw him. Pyros, as you saw, came out of a pentagram. He'll never come out again. Even if you take the heart of heart of flame to that big pentagram, all it does is it'll free him effectively, which just basically makes it so it throws meteors all over the screen. It's just a visual thing showing that the volcano's erupting. It's weird. And Hydros, the only other time you see Hydros outside of her endgame zone is in a cutscene, and you can't use items during cutscenes like that. So what we're doing here is, like I said, we're jumping across. We use the item using our pause thing, and then we teleport back to Argent Rock Isle. That is very important because we have to be on the same map as Stratos is when she dies. This will be so when we get this. I think it takes another try or two for me to get this. For the first try, I actually clicked off the stuff early, and so it didn't work. The second time, I jumped across and I didn't get I actually didn't get the item to click. So, third time, I jump across, I pause, I click the item, click Argent Rock. You know, she said she'll see that yellow text comes up and says, "You ungrateful child, you broke my heart." That's her death text. And when you do this, get hit by the lightning bolt. It teleports you to the end game, which is what happens when you kill a Titan. It will teleport you to the end game zone. There are 4 paths you take. Each path will lead you to a different Titan. We get to skip the west path because that path is done. That was Stratos' path. We don't have to go there now because we killed Stratos. As you saw, we picked up that Blackrock item, and you notice it now has a blue glow around it. That blue glow is the signal that, oh, you've killed the Titan. So right here, this is actually the Lithos zone. I actually went one place too far. I'll run up here and go, oh shoot, I went too far. Oh wait, I'm in the wrong area. I turn around and run back. This is just kind of a simple maze. I won't say simple. It's a maze. There are some BS things in here, like some of there's a couple places where the floor will open up. One of them has a bottomless pit. One of them has a zombie just lying there. It's a real pain. Right here, you notice this big old area. I think there was supposed to be an invisible bridge or something. You were supposed to use the rocks to throw and get across. But that doesn't really work well. So we just cast Endure Heat and run off the edge and jump in the hard lava and rock around this edge here to get back up to the platform on this other side. This is actually the second to last time we use Endure Heat to get past stuff. I just get my health back out because this is another area where you can die. I actually do take I do a decent job of dodging for a little bit, but then I stop dodging. Like there's a mushroom I blew up. I think there's another one or two I blow up here in a moment. I do have that extra rock flesh that I could use. I don't think I will. I do use it here in this. You see, there's more mushrooms. I blew up another one. I'm like mostly dead. I drink my last healing potion and save because it is my last healing potion. And I run straight up this hill and into this path. This is actually notable in like when I read the first strategy guide I ever read for this game. This is notable because that actually there's a lip under there. If you try to go directly underneath it and try there, you'll get caught under the lip and it won't let you up. As you see, I actually use the run jump trick because if you're running and you jump and you catch that lip and pull yourself up, you can keep running. So now I'm going through all these areas. You know you're in the right way. You're going the right way when you get all those things. I turn this corner and here's Lithos. He shows up like, you betrayed me. Like, now this is actually really weird. This one actually pauses for a time, but he's like, you betrayed me, live one. So now what we do is just take the Heart of Earth. We double click it, click him. He's like, no, I've been defeated. Click off. Everything goes away. I kind of sit here and wonder what's going on for a minute. I do not know what causes the pause, other than it's just lag and the game itself finally catches up with it. But like I said, you kill the Titan, he goes away, you get struck by lightning. The piece of black rock you use gets a blue glow and turns like it's a blue glow. It's now empowered, so now I have the powers of air and earth. Now I'm obviously in the area of water. Now this is one of those weird ones. It's the reason why you quick save here. Uh, Basically, you got to jump across the lake. You can actually use wind walk here to a point to actually try to get across. I do another quick save just to be on the safe side, but I really just jump up onto that first one and then I can jump across without a problem. Before, I think in the pre-patch version, those things also went, those rocks also went up and down and everything, and it kind of sucked. But yeah, we just kind of run through. We ignore everything. There's a little more jumping across these bridges. You see, I almost run into the water, but I didn't. But we run across these bridges. Oh, there's another bridge here. It's actually a bridge above me that I've got to pull myself up to. I save again because I am actually coming up on the boss. That's the last one there. The white platform you see here, this is where the boss is at. I just open my inventory, open this up. The boss Hydra's like, oh, don't think you can beat me. And she starts using lightning since she's the god of water, queen of the storms. So she's using lightning. She hits me with a lightning bolt. I kill her. Everybody's happy. And so now we go into the last path, the north path, which is is Pyros. This is, for lack of a better term, welcome to hell. If you ever wonder what hell looks like, at least according to the makers of Ultima 8, this is pretty close to what it is. Fire and brimstone, all that. We're gonna cast Endure Heat. And we're just going to jump across all this hot lava. Like, normally there's actually an area where you can get some white spheres, and there's a little like 16-starred pentacle in an area over by where that skeleton was. And you use those particular ones to actually to open the path and create a drive around path. But we're in a speed run. We don't got time to do that stuff. So we just go in. We've got, like, as you see, even with Endure Heat, these explosions do still hurt you. I run out to the side. You actually do it's a little bit of a pain. You kind of have to dodge. It's kind of hard, but you see all these dead people. I cast my last rock flesh here, so I don't have to worry about this. And then come up, and here's Pyros. He's like, oh, hey, I'm impressed that you're I'm impressed that you have the guts to take me on, but I'm gonna kill you and make you suffer in hell forever. Well, we have the tongue of flame, and we're just going. It's like, no, it's not possible. You can't. This couldn't be. And we kill him, and so he's dead. Now for this last one, we actually take it and target ourselves. Now you feel very powerful. We have now officially become the Titan of Ether with that. And so now what we do is we take all these different pieces and we're placing around the pinnacle in specific points. You notice that each time we get a point, it glows. Well, when we put all 5 of them in the right spot, we have now recreated the legendary obelisk of Pagan. And apparently that changeling was in the wrong spot, and that is GG. But basically, that particular obelisk in the lore of Pagan, when the Pagans originally summoned the Titans, they created an obelisk out of black rock, and that was like their focus. That was their symbol of authority. Well, what ends up happening is that little tip, the tip of the pyramid, the tip that we got, that was actually the top of that original obelisk. And then each of those pieces, each of the Blackrock pieces we got was a piece of the original obelisk. And the whole story is that, like, when the Guardian showed up, he blasted it into pieces. And then all of the pieces became either symbols, either conduits of power, or ways to keep the Titans in check. But we've now escaped Pagan. We've gone through the ethereal plane, and we're now back on the planet, the world of Britannia. And we see the Guardian here, laughing at us. He's conquered the world that we were sworn to protect. And then Ultima Night happens, and all of this is retconned. And we go, oh, screw this, we're going back to Houston. And then I'll let the credits play for a little bit. But yeah, that was Ultimate 8. That was the any percent no major glitches category. I want to give I'll give a huge shout out to Radis. I believe it's Radis 128. I'll have to make sure I get his name correct. But he's the one who actually I know there were a lot of glitch hunters in this game for a while after I set the original world record for NMG 5 years ago. But like a lot of the tricks that are in this were tricks I never really tried. I kind of knew about them, but I didn't think about it. I didn't think about a lot of the skips. The original route actually did the Devon, the Devon portal, or the Save Devon story. It did the whole open up the lake and free Hydra storyline to make it easier to get to the sorcerers and stuff like that. And without some of these extra tricks, times this low aren't possible. This is kind of a semi D-rust run, and I'm 4 minutes off a world record. So it's one of those runs where if you I can say this right now that this was terrible execution. There were a lot of places where I missed, bonked off stuff. I missed jumps. You saw several places where I died because I wasn't paying attention to something, or I just was reckless. But basically, with a little more execution, a little better execution, not this execution scene like we cut some guy's head off, but with a little better execution, world record is easily obtainable. So, but overall, I just want to I want to give a shout out to Radis for helping push the game when I was not playing it as much. Shout out to Squibbins, the whole Ultima Discord. Bunch of awesome people out there running a whole lot of awesome games, and just hope you enjoyed this run. If you're on YouTube when you're seeing this, if you liked it, please give a like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. And other than that, I hope you all have a great day. And I'm going to cut stream for the moment so that I can get everything set up. And I will be back with a Final Fantasy randomizer Duckling Seed. So take care.